help shape the agenda for OIX in the UK and Europe. That's a culture of one and done. I consent, bang, go for it. And the huge amounts of venture capital that's pouring into identity companies and startups are largely built on the monetization of personally identifying information. That's fact.
Public-private sector partnerships are really the way forward. So mandating regulation or mandating compliance on the private sector is not, in my opinion, going to be particularly effective. Certainly, organisations will achieve a sufficient level of compliance.
Innovation in a competitive and heavily regulated space, I think, is very challenging. We've seen this in lots of other areas. It takes some momentum, some degree of trust, and particularly a great degree of openness to drive forward collaborative change in that kind of heavily competitive space.
We have embarked on a long-term strategic approach to the challenges of digital. These will not be addressed overnight, but they are of great importance. User trust in digital will not be delivered through blind confidence in government, but through open dialogue.
So open banking provides a basis to share information, to provide standardised transaction data, but actually there is friction for the customer already. But even if I get through that process, so I've given that permission, I've gone through a process and I've said, actually, there's a better product for me. What happens after that? Oh, there you are.
When I'm logging into my online banking as an example, I quite like the fact that it takes me 10-15 seconds. There's something about it that it makes it feel a bit secure. So actually, whilst potentially I could have an easier and quicker journey, actually for some high value transactions like that feels right.
I have a concern that digital identity becomes wrapped up in the financial services sort of sector box in terms of how it's perceived by citizens. It's a relatively dry subject compared to some other things that you can do in life.
So your Facebook identity, you maybe created it years ago, Facebook never checked out who you were. It doesn't necessarily say it's you. What we're doing as Experian and what the industry is doing is moving to a set of digital identities with trust.
What OIX does is that we really try not to boil the ocean. We look at ponds, we look at specific pain points. You've seen it in all of our white papers.
So thank you and enjoy the rest of the event.